my screen. So regarding your previous sessions, if you do have any doubt, you can ask. Any doubt regarding your previous sessions? Regarding your unit 1 and unit 2? No. Okay, so we are proceeding. Akash Bhardwaj. Oh shit. No. So unit 3rd is about your voucher entry. We are going to start it. I'm just going to share my screen. My screen is visible to everyone? Is my screen is visible to everyone? At least respond. Voucher entry. Okay. So what do you mean by vouchers? Vouchers basically in manual accounting, whatever the transactions are recorded through journal entries, in computerized accounting, it is done through voucher entry. So whatever the transactions you are entering, that is your voucher. Okay, so voucher, it is a document which is needed to support a transaction. For example, your sales bill copy, it may be your checkbook slip, or it may be your counterfoil, record slip, pay register, etc. So what we can say that voucher contains or details of the transaction. Okay, for example, A withdraws cash worth rupees 10,000 from the OD account and 30,000 rupees from the current account on same date from the SDFC bank. Although these both are cash withdrawals from the same bank and would be entered into two separate vouchers. Okay, those are two separate source documents. So there are different types of vouchers when you are going to record the transactions. Now we will discuss about the types of vouchers. Types of vouchers. Okay, so just a second. First one is your contra voucher. Contra voucher, what it is? I want my screen to be in side by side. I don't. Okay. Oh. So types of voucher. First one is your contra voucher. As you have studied in accounting, the transactions you are recorded in computer, that are your vouchers, which includes the details of that transaction. So first type is your contra voucher. Contra voucher, what it is? This is a type of voucher for entering fund transfer transactions where net inflows are equal. Okay, where the net effect is zero. In this case, for example, that we had taken just above, that they have withdrawn the cash from the same bank, SDFC Bank, of rupees 10,000 and 30,000. So in this case, your transaction between cash and bank only. You can enter the transaction between both accounts, okay, between the cash and bank account only. For example, second example, like cash sent to bank. So bank account will be debited to cash account. Now next type of voucher would be your payment voucher. जितने भी transactions हैं, all transactions related to payment by cash or bank from part of a payment voucher. Okay, all transactions related to payment by cash. So it form a part of payment voucher. For example, purchase are their expenses, loans, advances given. Okay, then acquisition, payments, loans or advances taken by you. So for example, payment vouchers कैसे होंगे? Purchase of goods rupees 10,000, purchase किया है goods rupees 1,000. तो यहाँ पे आपका क्या एंट्री होगा? वाउचर एंट्री, परचेज अकाउंट डेबिट टू कैश. If you had paid amount for repairs, then repairs account debit to cash account. So this is the example. Receipt voucher means where you have to see the inflow of money in cash or the bank, कि आपका in the form of cash आप जो है receive कर रहे हो या फिर in the bank you are receiving it. Okay. So journal receipt voucher is what? कि you see the inflow of money in cash or bank through bank, the bank is recorded through receipts voucher. For example, income from debtor, loans and advances, income from refund of loan. Okay, so this is the example. Then next is your journal voucher. Journal voucher is basically what? It is an adjustment voucher which is used for non-cash transactions. For example, जैसे कि आपका depreciation account है और you had received for liabilities income receivables like that. So in journal voucher, what you had to done, an entry is passed and you want to adjust amount between two or more ledger accounts without affecting cash or bank accounts. Okay, so this is your journal voucher. Then next type of voucher is your sales voucher. Any sales transaction, whether goods or services are entered, it's your sales voucher. So in case of cash sales, अगर आपका sales जो है वो cash में है, तो you receive a payment immediately by the cash or bank, and there is no need to create ledger separately for the buyer. So this is regarding your sales voucher. The next is your purchase voucher. Any purchase transaction which is done for गुड्स और सर्विसेज, कुछ भी आपने परचेज किया है और वेदर इट्स अ गुड और यू हैड परचेज अ सर्विसेज, देन it comes under the purchase voucher. And in case of cash purchase, no separate ledger is required related to any vendor. Okay, so no separate ledger of a vendor is required. Then next one is your credit note. In capital C and we will denote it. So credit note or debit note, ये आपके दो हैं. Credit note is what? It is a voucher by default and CN is not available. अगर ये option आप company में select करते हो and activate करते हो, activate means you select that option and put instead of no, you have selected yes, then it will be activated, for which there are shortcut keys F7 or F8, and then and you can select the voucher F7 and F8. Okay, and likewise debt not voucher जो कि आपका DN है, डेबिट वाउचर. जैसे क्रेडिट नोट है ऐसे ही आपका डेबिट नोट है, वो भी आपका बाय डिफॉल्ट अनअवेलेबल है, अवेलेबल नहीं होगा. एंड इफ यू वांट टू एक्टिवेट दैट ऑप्शन, देन यू अगेन हैड टू गो टू द फीचर्स ऑप्शन ऑफ द कंपनी एंड यू कैन सेलेक्ट द वाउचर F7 or F9. Okay, so these two features are not in the form of activation, and if you want it, you have to activate it by selecting the option yes from the features option of the company that you had created. Okay, now when we talk about the voucher, voucher basically is a transaction that you are recording. In manual accounting, the transaction that you had recorded is a voucher in computerized accounting. So जो भी transactions आप record करोगे, that is a voucher. तो उसका जो body part है in tally, what it shows, वो window आपको क्या show करेगी. Okay, तो यहाँ पे मैं आपको अभी जो है practically दिखाती हूँ किस तरीके से आपका ये appear होगा. So just a second. So this is the gateway of the tele. Okay. So here I'm going to select a company. Just a second. First of all, you had to go to the gateway of tele. This is the gateway of tele. Here you had to select masters and account info. this one, this is the main gateway of Tele. Okay, so when you open the Tele, you had to select the work in educational mode, and then this main window will appear. Okay, now here you had master's account info, inventory info. Here you had to select accounting vouchers option. Okay, accounting vouchers option. Now this is the main voucher window where you had three parts. First, here is the payment voucher. Okay, different types of vouchers are available. So जो हमारा सारा transactions है वो different vouchers के under heading में आएंगे. तो जो vouchers हैं यहाँ पे आपका ये सारा होगा, account है, current balance है, your date will be on the right hand side along with day, amount, particulars. Then you, if you want to write down the narration about that transaction, you can write it here. Okay, then here your final amount of that transaction. Okay, तो यहाँ पे अगर आप पेमेंट वाउचर में आप वो कर रहे हो एंट्री, तो इट विल जो भी ट्रांजेक्शन्स आपके दैट आर अपेयरिंग इन द पेमेंट वाउचर, यू विल रिकॉर्ड इट हियर. ओके, सो this is the main window when you will do a transaction. So we are talking about that. Tally हो गया. Okay, so this is the body part of the voucher that I had shown you. Now understandable. वहां पे आपका जो transactions आप enter करोगे, transactions are enter in a body factor voucher. It has number of fields. पहला क्या है, to buy or debit and credit. So this is predefined for first voucher entry. For the subsequent entries, cursor asks for your selection. Then ledger account you had to select, then amount and narration. In manual accounting, what you were doing, the transactions are recorded through the journal entries. Okay, but here in computerized accounting, you are doing it through a software. So in that software, it is done through voucher entry. So a document is needed to support a transaction called a voucher. So it may be copy of sales bill, sales of, slip of checkbook, or it may be a counter file, record slip, pay in slip, pay register, etc. are the examples of voucher. So voucher contains the every detail of the transaction. For example, cash is withdrawn rupees 50,000 from the OD and 60,000 from the current account. So on the same day, Bank of Baroda, although both are cash withdrawal transactions from the same bank, and transactions would be entered into two separate vouchers as they are two separate source documents. ठीक है, तो यहाँ पे दो vouchers में, separate vouchers में you will enter those transactions. In computerized, you will say not transactions, vouchers. Okay, so in the gateway of Tele, first of all, what you had to do, you had to open your Tele software, and in that you had to select accounting vouchers. Okay, as I had shown you, this is the main gateway of the Tele, and in that this is the main gateway, and in that account info, accounting vouchers you had to select. When you select accounting vouchers, then for recording the transaction, this window will appear. Okay, here you had this body part and you had to do all the related information, you had to put it down. Okay, here these are the shortcut keys where you can select directly by pressing those shortcut keys what entries you want to make. Okay, so this thing, I think you got understand. From the gateway of the Tele, you had to select accounting vouchers. So voucher entry. To create a voucher, click on the voucher entry under the gateway of Tele. You will get the voucher screen. Okay, this screen will appear. Voucher header. Generally, the header of voucher entry screen looks like shown in like this, displaying the voucher type, voucher number, date, day of voucher. Okay. So this window I had shown you. Then here, what these things mean. This one, this payment, what it means. Number, account, current balance, particulars, amount, then here date. So these labels, what does they mean? Okay. So voucher type, what it says, shows the type of voucher you have selected. By default, it has selected what type of voucher? Payment voucher is being selected. Now, it's up to you what type of transactions you are entering. That transaction is coming in which type of voucher that you will select here. Okay. So here is payment. Instead of payment, there may be sales. Okay. Receipts may be there. Okay. तो यहाँ पे जो वाउचर आप सेलेक्ट करोगे दैट विल अपीयर हियर. देन वाउचर नंबर कि which voucher number, under which voucher number you are doing the transactions. So voucher number is what? To identify a voucher uniquely. W number is provided by the user or by the tally according to the settings in voucher types under accounts info. Okay. So this is your voucher number. अगेन मैं आपको ये जो पेमेंट वाला है वाउचर टाइप्स में आपको बता दूं कैसे, हाउ यू विल सिलेक्ट इट. यहाँ पे ये जो सारे हैं आपका जर्नल है, सेल्स है, रिसिप्ट वाउचर है या क्रेडिट नोट है, परचेज है, ये सारे आप यहाँ से सेलेक्ट कर सकते हो. ओके. एंड ये सारे जो ऑप्शंस हैं आपको कहाँ से अवेलेबल होंगे दैट आई एम गोइंग टू शो यू. जस्ट अ सेकेंड. ऑन द राइट हैंड साइड देयर इज अ ऑप्शन. अब ये ऑप्शन क्यों अवेलेबल है? कुछ आपके इनबिल्ट है, कुछ आई हैड मेक यस, जैसे कि मैंने डेबिट नोट और क्रेडिट नोट का बताया था. इफ यू वांट दैट यू हैड टू make the settings yes, then only this credit note and debit note will appear here. Okay, so these vouchers are already appearing here. How? Where you can find it out? Quit. You had to go to the accounts info, masters account info, and then here voucher types. Okay. If you want to create your own, you can create it. Want to change, you can alter and display. While you display, you will get to know how many list of voucher types are being inbuilt in this. Okay, you can make your own also. So from here, you can select your voucher type. Okay, I think this thing is clear. Okay, from here, you can close it and quit. Now, so voucher type you can select, shows the type of voucher selected, and by default it selects the, यहाँ पे आपके screen में by default what tally has selected? Payment voucher. Okay, payment voucher again I'm telling you कि आपके पास जो data है आप वहां से accounting vouchers select कर सकते हो और which type of accounts info, voucher types, display, and here you can have your payment voucher. So you had selected that one. Okay. Now, voucher number. To identify a voucher uniquely, W number is provided by the user or by tally. So according to the setting in voucher types under accounts info, you can do the voucher number. Then reference. Reference becomes the part of voucher header in sales, purchase, debit और credit note. जहाँ पे आप reference जो आपकी debit note और credit note है, if you want कुछ reference आपको debit items का या credit items का देना है regarding that transaction in that voucher, तो आप वहां पे ये वाला ऑप्शन ऑन करोगे और उसमें आप उनके जो भी डेबिट और क्रेडिट नोट्स में जो भी वाउचर से रिलेटेड इन सेल्स परचेज जो भी है इंफॉर्मेशन देना चाहते हो वो ऐड ऑन कर सकते हो. देन डेट ऑफ वाउचर. डेट इज डिस्प्लेड इन डेट मंथ ईयर फॉर्मेट एट द टॉप राइट ऑफ कॉर्नर. जैसे कि यहाँ पे मैंने आपको टेली में दिखाया भी है कि जो आपका डेट है एट द राइट हैंड कॉर्नर इस डे मंथ ईयर इस फॉर्मेट में अलॉन्ग विद कौन सा दिन है उसमें आपका राइट हैंड साइड में शो होती है. So date of the voucher is displayed in date month year format at the top right corner. For example, 1/4/19 is displayed as 01 dash dash dash. Okay. So by default, the current date is the gateway and is automatically taken as the date of voucher. Okay. So to change the voucher date, press F2 button, shortcut key है आपकी, and it prompts you to change the voucher date. So this date continues to appear for the subsequent vouchers till you change it. So it's up to you. So already I had said the thing कि आप जो इनपुट दोगे उसी के बेस पे जो है आपका सॉफ्टवेयर वर्क करेगा, एंड इट विल डिपेंड अपॉन, सो दैट्स अ ह्यूमन डिसीजन इज नीडेड कि अगर वो सही से अपना डेटा फीड कर रहे हैं, देन इन विल इनपुट दे रहे हैं, तो देन ओनली दे विल गेट द राइट आउटपुट. ओके. Now, day of the voucher. Day of the voucher is displayed just below the day for the date for the convenience. जैसे कि मैंने दिखाया भी, अभी शो किया है आपको, जो डेट के नीचे जस्ट आपको डे भी शो होगा फॉर योर कन्वीनियंस कि किस दिन की वो ट्रांजेक्शन है. ओके. नाउ, effective date. Effective date is also sometimes becomes a part of voucher when there is a need to calculate the due date or interest from any other date than the voucher date. Okay, so यहाँ पे effective date भी आप add on कर सकते हो. Now next is your types of vouchers. जो अभी हमने यहाँ discuss किए हैं कि what are the different types of vouchers. These are the list of voucher types. What are they and how you can work with them. Okay. So basically in manual accounting, what we will do, all accounts are maintained in primary books, which are broadly your cash book and journal. Okay. Journal is further subdivided into sales to record the sales transaction, purchase to record the purchase transactions, then debit note to record the purchase return, rebates, discounts earned or to or debit a party. Okay. But along with that, credit note to record the sales returns, rebate, discount given to and to creditor party. So in accordance to that only कि जो हम manual accounting में करते थे, to keep consistency with the manual accounting, Tally provides predefined types of vouchers कि already उसमें predefined types of vouchers हैं in common जो हमारे mostly organizations में, businesses में use होंगे. What are they? These are sales, purchase, debit note, credit note, receipts, payments, contra, memo, and reverse. Okay, so these are the voucher types. And to record the non-cash transactions normally entered in the journals, to record cash and bank transactions, special journals for exclusive purposes. So voucher selection आप कैसे करोगे? That already I told. Again, I am saying कैसे आप voucher selection कर सकते हो. So this thing already I told you, first of all, you had to go to the gateway of Tally. This is the gateway of Tally in which you had to select this pen will appear, this window, screen will appear, accounts info. In that you have to select voucher type. Then this will appear, voucher types, in which you can select the option display. And in here you have the options of different types of vouchers. So this above list shows the different types of vouchers, and accordingly what are needed according to your books, you can select that voucher. Okay. So now we are going to define all these types of vouchers, what does they mean. Okay. So different types of vouchers we are going to discuss now. First one is your contra voucher. Contra voucher is what? It is for entering the fund transfer transaction where net inflow and outflow are equal. That is, net effect is zero. So in contra voucher, what you had to do, you can enter the transaction between cash and bank accounts where ledger placed under groups cash in hand, bank account, and bank OCC only. Okay, so that is your contra voucher, the contra entries you can say in manual accounting. Then next one is your payment voucher. All transactions that are related to payment either by cash or through bank that are recognized in the payment voucher, and such payments can be towards your purchase, if anything you had purchased, or the expenses are related to expenses, or you had purchased or acquired any fixed assets due to the creditor, or the loans and advances given by you, or payment of loans and advances taken by you earlier. So you had to do the payment, you have to make the payment. So for that purpose, you can do the transactions under your payment voucher. Okay, then next is your receipt voucher. What receipt voucher says: all inflow of money, whether in cash or through bank, are recorded through receipt voucher, and such receipts may be towards any income or from your debtors, or loans or advances, your refund of loans and advances given earlier. So this voucher is similar to your payment voucher, except that you debit the cash or bank accounts and credit the ledger from where you have received it. Okay, so receipt voucher is basically you are receiving any money or income, whether it is from your debtor side, or you had provided advances or loans, that income you are receiving, or there is a refund of loans or advances that are given earlier. So these types of various types of income, if you are receiving, then you had to do the transactions under the head receipt voucher. So you are receiving the income. Voucher is basically a similar to your payment voucher, except that you debit cash or bank accounts and credit the ledger from which you have received. Okay. Now next is your journal voucher. Journal voucher, what it says: journal voucher is an adjustment voucher, and it is used for non-cash transactions, like if we say adjustment between the ledger accounts, provision for liabilities is there, and income receivable is there, depreciation and all other provisions. These are the common examples of your journal voucher. So in journal voucher, what is being done: an entry is passed when you want to adjust the amount between these two or more ledger accounts and without affecting cash and bank accounts. So there you had to go for journal voucher. Under journal voucher, you had to do that entry. The next is your sales voucher. Sales voucher is what? Any sales transaction, whether it is a goods or services, are entered in sales voucher. Means you had whether it is being related to any type of good or any types of services. So in case of, if I say about in case of cash sales, you receive the payment immediately by cash or through check. So then or you through credit card, then there is no need to create a separate ledger for the buyer who has paid immediately. Then there is no need. Instead of creating one party ledger and debiting or crediting in that ledger, one can also select cash or bank account with whom you had deposited the check, or credit card organization. So entry would appear in the sales register and cash book. Cash book is basically of bank. So jo entry hogi, that would appear in your sales register. So that is your sales voucher. That is related to your any type of sales transaction, whether it is being related to goods or services, that are entered in your sales voucher. And if you had received that payment immediately in cash or through check or credit card, there is no need to create the separate ledger. Okay. Now, next is your purchase voucher. परचेज वाउचर बेसिकली जितने भी हम आइटम्स परचेज करते हैं, इट इज रिलेटेड टू दैट any purchase transactions, whether goods or services, are entered in the purchase voucher. In case of cash purchase, अगर cash purchase है तो you can make payment immediately by cash or by check, or you do not need to track the outstanding as payment has already been made. So there is no need to create a separate ledger for the vendor whom you have paid immediately. Instead of making one purchase voucher, crediting the party, another payment voucher, and debiting the party, you can create a composite purchase voucher. In first entry, instead of party ledger, you can select the cash or bank account, the bank account on which the check was being issued. Okay. Then You can select cash or bank account, the bank account on which you issued the check, and then the entry will appear in your purchase register as well in cash or bank books. Okay, so this way you can do the purchase voucher entry in a purchase voucher if you had if you want to make payment immediately through cash or check. Okay, so in case of cash purchase, if you are making payment through cash or check, you need not need to track outstanding as the payment is already being made. So there is no need to create a separate ledger account for the vendor whom you have paid immediately. Okay. So instead of making that one purchase voucher, crediting the party and another purchase voucher आप दूसरा बनाओगे, दूसरे को डेबिट करोगे, पहले में आप क्रेडिट करोगे, तो इसको ना करके what you can do, you can create a composite purchase voucher. Composite purchase voucher में एक single entry होगी. Instead of party ledger, you can select cash or bank account on which जिसके नाम से जो जिस बैंक के नाम से जो है इशू हुआ है चेक, और उस वो अकाउंट बना सकते हो. ठीक है. सो द एंट्री वुड अपीयर इन द परचेज रजिस्टर एज वेल एज इन कैश बुक और बैंक बुक. ओके. नाउ नेक्स्ट इज योर क्रेडिट नोट. Okay, so now next is your credit note. As already I had told कि credit note by default in Tally credit note would not be available, and if you want this, then you had to activate that option, use credit or debit note for the company under features, and you can select this voucher upon clicking either F7 journal or F8 sales button. Okay, by these shortcut keys you can select it. Otherwise you had to activate this option, then only it will appear on the right hand side of the Tally where I had told you that this is appearing. Okay, again I'm showing that thing to you. यहाँ देखो अभी ये शो नहीं हो रहा क्रेडिट नोट एंड डेबिट नोट, एंड इफ यू वांट टू एक्टिवेट इट देन व्हाट यू हैड टू डू, go to the features, and here this is the body of the things you are going to prepare in your that company. So these are the features, and here you had to activate it. Where is here it is credit and debit note, use debit and credit notes, here it is no. Then you had what you had to do, you had to make it yes. Okay, आपको ये yes करना है, then it will, this option will be available, or you can say this option is activated. Okay. So these are the features while accounting features when you had created a company, and these features are what कि आपको ये चीजें आपको अपने उसमें चाहिए accounts में, कि जैसे general है, maintain accounts only no, integrated accounts and inventory yes, income and expense account instead of P&L account no, allow multi currency, अगर आप multi currency चाहते हो, the more than two countries आप जो है cross border country जो है आप business कर रहे हो, in that case you can select this option as yes. Maintain bill wise details, activate interest calculation, तो आप ये yes कर सकते हो. Okay, maintain the payroll, maintain cost centers, तो ये सारे ऑप्शंस आपके हैं. यहाँ पे बजट सिनेरियो, डेबिट क्रेडिट नोट्स हैं, इनवॉइसिंग, अलाउ इनवॉइसिंग, रिकॉर्ड परचेजेस इन इनवॉइस फॉर्मेट यस, देन मेंटेन बजट एंड कंट्रोल्स नो है, इनबिल्ट है. तो यहाँ पे आप जो ऑप्शंस आपको चाहिए वो आप यहाँ पे यस करोगे कि दैट दीज फीचर्स यू वांट इन योर अकाउंट्स. इनेबल चेक प्रिंटिंग, जो कि आपका इसमें लास्ट है कि वाउचर्स का चेक प्रिंटिंग और प्रिंटिंग ऑफ वाउचर यू नीड, तो यहाँ पे ये आप यस करोगे. सो use banking configuration bank ledger master for check printing configuration. Okay, then alter banking features, if you want ki you want to change or do modifications related to your banking features, then you have to put it this option as on activate mode, so you have to do as yes. Then set or alter post dated transaction features, then allow zero valued entries, maintain multiple mailing details for the company and ledgers. नो सेट अल्टर कंपनी मेलिंग डिटेल्स हैं, तो उसमें अगर चेंजेस करने हैं, दिस इज नो, अगर करने हैं तो देन यू हैव टू ऑप्ट फॉर द यस. एंड इनेबल अ कंपनी लोगो, अभी ये इनबिल्ट नो है, and if you want then you can set this option as yes, then you have to save it. Okay. Accept, yes. Okay, now see, यहाँ पे debit note that was not appearing, now debit note and credit note will be will appear. Okay, देखो यहाँ पे show हो रहा है, you can see it, credit note and debit note. Contra entry, likewise you can do the entry here. Then payment entry, under payment voucher you can do the payment entries. Then receipt entry, receiving entries you can do here in the receipt. Then journal entry, these are the inbuilt voucher details. Okay, then list of ledger accounts, the profit and loss account, then sales, sales entries related you can write it down. Credit note you can write it down here ki original, what is the original invoice number and date, and on which date you are going to do that, and party's account name, its current balance and sales ledger, and name of the item for which you are doing that credit note and debit note. Okay, and then stock query if you want, on which date cash, whether it is related to cash or sales, bank detail, batch details, then items of same category. Then in here right hand side features are there. Features में आप ये सारे settings जो है add on करोगे जो आपको चाहिए. Then inventory is also there. Inventory features, जो भी आपके इंटीग्रेटेड अकाउंट इन्वेंट्री है, जीरो वैल्यूड एंट्रीज एंटर करने हैं, यानी कि स्टॉक में कभी कभी हमारा जीरो बैलेंस एंट्रीज भी होते हैं, तो जीरो वैल्यू है, तो दोज एंट्रीज यू वांट, देन यू हैव टू सिलेक्ट दिस ऑप्शन यस. देन रिगार्डिंग स्टोरेज एंड क्लासिफिकेशन, maintain multiple go downs, maintain stock categories, maintain batch wise details, different actual and build quantity. If you want these, then you have to select these options yes, and it will appear on the right hand side while you are doing your transactions. Okay, order processing means allow purchase order processing, allow sales order processing, allow job order processing. Then invoicing means allow invoicing, record purchases in the invoice format, yes. Use debit credit note, that I had made yes, so this was appearing right hand side. Then separate discount columns in the invoices, कि आपको जो आपके invoices बनेंगे उसमें separate discount columns चाहिए, अगर नहीं चाहिए तो no, it is inbuilt, and if you want then you have to select it as yes. Then purchase management, track additional cost of purchases, no. If you want then you can do it yes. Then regarding sales management, use multiple price levels, no. If you want to use the multiple price level, then you have to select this option as yes. Then other features, like if you want to track the numbers, that is delivery or receipt notes, then you had to make this option as yes and save it. And then if you want to use rejection, inward and outward knows why the item is being rejected, or while you are purchasing or you are selling out, those notes if you want to write it down, then you have to select this option. Use material in and out, then yes, otherwise no. Use cost tracking for stock items. So these are the features in inventory. And accounts feature, what we have discussed about accounting, invoicing, outstanding management, cost profit centers management, banking feature, budget and scenario management, and other features. Then next is your statutory features. A statutory feature is basically your related to your tax, GST and VAT, whatever things you are things the business is dealing with, whether through VAT or taxation. So taxation, accounting for tax deductible at source, VAT है, TDS है, and TCS, tax collected at source. So these statutory taxation window is there. Here in next unit we will study it, how to fill it and what options we had to select while a company or business is doing a taxation process and generating the reports. Okay, and then next one feature is your add-ons. So these things you will study in your next unit. First unit, today's session is about only this inventory and accounts. This information you had to select as yes. Okay. So now I'm minimizing it. Okay, so I think credit note and debit note is clear. What credit note says and what is the purchase voucher. Purchase voucher is what? Any purchase transaction that you are entered in purchase voucher in case of cash or credit purchase. Now credit note, what I think is being clear through practically I had shown through Tally. What it says, credit note by default is not available. You had to select the option and opt as yes. And if you have activated that option, then only you can use that under the company, under the features, and you can select this voucher upon clicking through these shortcut keys F7 journal and F8 for sales buttons. Okay, and what it is credit notice generally issued when a buyer returns some goods that you sold him, that is your sales return, or if you have grant him credit due to rate differences or discount or rebate, etc. So and now you like to square off a debit balance. Okay, so that is your credit note. And what is debit note? Debit note is also no, by default is not available. That also you had to select and make it as yes. And if you activate the option use debit and credit note for the companies under the features, you can select this voucher upon clicking either F7 and F9 purchase button. These are the shortcut keys. Company under features matlab under the features of tele. Here you can get the features. Here F11. Okay, features. Features में आप जो है इन accounting features में आपको यहाँ मिल जाएगा. Okay, you can get like this. Now body of the voucher, what does it mean? So debit note is generally entered when you make purchase return or have a short bill a customer, or your supplier have granted credit to you on account of rate difference or discount. So this is about your debit note. Now next is about body of the voucher. Okay, कि जो भी आप transactions कर रहे हो अब उसका जो body part है, that in tally we had discussed कि वो बॉडी में आपका जो टेली में अभी जस्ट आई हैड शोन यू दैट दीज थिंग्स विल अपीयर एंड हाउ यू विल इंटरप्रेट दोज थिंग्स. ओके, व्हाट while entering the transaction what things you had to show and how you can interpret it. Okay, so transactions are entered in the body part of the voucher, and it has a number of fields as given below, as I already had shown you. And in order to move from one field to another, you can press tab key. Okay, by tab key you can scroll down your things कि एक जगह से दूसरी जगह आपको जो है amount लिखना है, तो by tab key you can do that. So first one is your to or buy or debit or credit is pre-decided to first voucher entry according to the voucher selected, that is cursor do not move here. Okay, तो आपको first voucher entry according to voucher जो आपने select किया है उसके according करोगे. If it is a payment voucher then you have to do the payment transaction, that is payment vouchers. Okay, so for the subsequent voucher entries the cursor asks for the selection of debit or credit in the first column, and upon its selection the cursor moves to the debit or credit amount column. Okay, however, for sales, purchase, debit note and credit note vouchers, subsequent entries are also pre-decided. Okay, so to select buy or to press B or T respectively, if you press any other character, error message will appear, and you can instead select debit or debit for D and credit for credit C after responding yes to the query. Use credit debit instead of to or buy during entry in configure button on the bottom right of the side of voucher screen. You can see it here. List of vouchers, exit. Okay, voucher types. Here configure button is there, and here you can select your voucher entry, and here you can do the things you want. Okay, skip date field during creation, then use single entry mode for payment, receipt or contra entry, then use payment or receipt as a contra, use credit debit instead of to buy. तो अगर आपको ये option select करना है तो then you have to activate it as yes. Okay, use check printing for contra. Then अगर आपको इसमें जो आपका लास्ट पॉइंट है कि अगर आप ये प्रिंट करना चाहते हो चेक, तो इसको भी आप ऑप्शन को यू सेलेक्ट एज यस. Then warn on negative cash balance, if you want it, it is inbuilt yes. Then pre-allocate bills for payment, a receipt or journal, if you want it, then you can make it yes. Like this spelling error will appear if you had done anything wrong in this tally, तो आपको error आएगा, that's I'm showing. तो यहाँ पे आप yes select करोगे Okay, then allow cash accounts in the journals. If you want, then allow expenses and fixed assets in purchase vouchers, allow income accounts in sales vouchers, then show inventory details. Yes. Show table of bill details for the selection. Yes. Show bill final balances. Yes. Show bill wise details. आपको show करना है तो yes, otherwise no. Then expand into multiple lines. Yes. Then show ledger current balances. If you want every ledger current balances to be shown, then you had to select it. Yes. Then next is your show balances as on voucher date. On that voucher date, what were the balance? तो वो भी अगर आप करना चाहते हो, then you can select it as yes. Then use a reference. This was about related to account. Then inventory, use reference number in the stock journal. कि आपको reference number रखना है stock journal में. You can opt this option. Then show compound unit of item based on rate. Yes. Otherwise no. Then use show full details on the compound unit, then warn on negative stock balance. ठीक है, अगर आपका स्टॉक बैलेंस नेगेटिव है एंड यू वांट टू नो कि आपको वार्न किया जाए, अ मैसेज विल अपीयर और समथिंग लाइक दैट, देन यू कैन मेक दिस ऑप्शन एज यस. It is inbuilt as yes. Then show balances on the voucher date. It is no. If you want that your balances on the voucher date will be shown, then you had to make this option as yes. Okay. Then show go down wise details and batch wise details. Yes. Okay. Now you had to save it. Okay. And then exit. So while saving, you will get these things. And browse categories. These are the categories and recently added, what you had recently added, these things you had added on. Then change country, addition, detail, these things you can change. Campus of open learning, that was in India. हमने जो company create की थी. If we want to change the country कि now campus of open learning is not working in India, it is in Egypt or Denmark, then you can change the country from here. Okay, then you can quit and close. Okay, voucher entry configuration, then close. Okay, now invoice orders and entries, payroll configuration, banking configuration, data, advanced, these things here you can go. If in general already I had told you, these are the general details of the company that you had created, means that company's detail, whether it is operating in India or outside India. Then what is the style of name, default appearance of name in reports में क्या name आना चाहिए, and stock items में क्या name है, that you can do. Like I had selected India, then name only or alias nickname you want to give. For example, name, then name only में description you had to give. Then date, month, year, this is the style of date, whatever transactions you are doing, that transactions and reports, what format of date you want, date, month, year, or month, date, year, month, date, that you have to select. Separator used in short date, this is the separator. Then decimal characters to use, thousand separators to use. If you want, you can write it down. Okay, 2 or 3 or whatever. Then add sign before currency, unit symbols, show numbers in millions. If you want, you can. If your company is need is there, you can select this option. Then table configuration is there. Use common table for stock items or use common table for the TDS helper. Then apply keyword filter list of items. Apply for all columns or show the tables with masters only in the current language. So these options of while you had created company, you can select as yes, whatever the according to the need of your company, those options you had to select. Then ignore errors and continue during data import. If there is an error, then if you want to continue, otherwise no. Overwrite vouchers during import, no. Export based currency simple along with amount. अगर आप चाहते हो कि if you want that export based currency symbol it should be shown along with the amount, then you had to select this option as yes. Okay, then open file after export if you want, yes, otherwise it will not be shown. Then show monthly reports with graphs. If you want your monthly reports to be shown with along with graphs, then yes, otherwise no. Use separate menu for the final account statements, yes, otherwise no. If you want कि एक separate menu आपका final account statements का रहे तो आपको this option you have to make as yes. Then use beeps for the tally alerts and always show info panel. Accordingly you had to select. Okay, in numeric symbols what we have discussed कि जो configuration है symbols to use for positive numbers and negative numbers या debit or credit amount, whatever the transactions you are doing in that, if you have positive numbers or negative numbers or you had a debit or credit amount, so by default जो है आपका positive in bracket इस तरीके से होगा, symbol before prefix and after, and symbols for negative number this will be default आपका होगा माइनस, अदरवाइज आप ब्लैंक इसको यूज कर सकते हो, प्रीफिक्स मींस पहले और सफिक्स में बाद में. ओके, सो बिफोर एंड आफ्टर. सिंबल्स टू यूज फॉर डेबिट अमाउंट इज डैश डेबिट, डिफॉल्ट आपका ब्लैंक है, और सिंबल्स टू यूज ऑन क्रेडिट डिफॉल्ट ब्लैंक एंड प्रीफिक्स, और आपका जो सफिक्स है डेट इज क्रेडिट. ओके, तो ये आप सिलेक्ट कर सकते हो. देन नेक्स्ट इज accounts or inventory info, that already I had explained you, accounts and inventory. Then voucher entry, that is today's topic. Jo, according to the need of your business, whatever the things you want, like if you want the entry you had made, the transactions or vouchers, you can say that you had entered. If you want it in the printing form, check printing for contra, then you had to option you had to make it as yes. And then these options like use single entry mode for payment or contra, then use payment or receipt as a contra. So these things you had to made according to the need and requirement of your company. Okay. Then next is your invoice or orders entry. Invoice or delivery note or order configuration, what it says. Generally accept supplement details. If you want supplementary details like address details regarding the transaction, dispatch details, etc., then you had to select it as yes. Then allow separate buyer and consignee names. Separate buyer and sorry. Then allow separate buyer consignee name. Are you getting what I'm discussing? Taranjit, Ashu? Taranjit and Asu, are you there in the class? No. So I'm going to take a 5 minutes break when we'll be back soon. So till that, revise your things that I had told you, that I have discussed with you. Okay. Taranjit, Kaur, till now, if you had any doubt, you can ask. Taranjit, Ashu, till now, whatever the things we had discussed, if you had any doubt, you can ask. Okay, no doubts. Okay, so within 5 minutes, we were going to take a break for a 5 minute, then we will continue the session. Okay, till then, you can do the revision, whatever the things we had discussed. If you do have any doubt, we can discuss it. Okay. Okay, class. So we are starting the session. So we had discussed about what are the types of vouchers, what different types of vouchers are there, how you can select the type, and selection of that voucher type for your transactions, and how you can do the voucher entry, and what about voucher name and date settings, right? So date settings, how you can do set the date accordingly, in which format you want. Then voucher entry with more than one debit and credit account, editing, deleting a voucher, then printing a voucher and check. So these things we are again doing, proceeding the session regarding these things. So till now we had discussed, I'm going to share my screen. Okay. So this is the earlier we had discussed previously about the main part of the voucher. First of all, how you can what are the different types of vouchers, and how you can select the different types of vouchers for doing the entry. So this is the voucher selection criteria. So what you had to do, you had to go for the gateway of the tele, and then you had to select masters. When you go to the gateway of the tele, there you had the account info. In that account info you had to select voucher types. Then this will appear where you had the options. First one, to create the voucher. In that you had to do the voucher, list of voucher types. You can create it, then you can show it through the display mode, ki what types of vouchers are being there. Then if you want to change, alter means you want to change anything, you can change and then quit. Okay, so these are the list of vouchers being available, under which you had to do every entry, every transaction. Okay, so there is contra, there is credit note, debit note. Some things you had in inbuilt, these are not being available, so you had to activate those options. Then delivery note, job work in order. Then job work out order, journal, material in, material out, memorandum is there, payment, physical stock, purchase order, receipt note, rejections in the and rejections out, reversing journal, sales order. And these options of various types of vouchers are being inbuilt in your tele. Okay, some of are already been activated, some you had to activate it by selecting it. Okay, so the above list shows many types of vouchers, and we will discuss those that are needed in accounts pick only. So those vouchers which are needed in our accounts, that you had to select. Okay, so basically what type of vouchers basically in common we use, these are the contra vouchers. Here you can see it. There is a contra voucher, there is a credit note, debit note, and what we use, purchase order, receipt note, sales order, and sales order and stock journal. Okay, so contra voucher, what it is for entering the fund transfer transaction, where your net inflow and outflow are equal and your net effect is zero. So in contra voucher, you can add the transactions between your cash and bank accounts. Ledger placed under groups like cash in hand, bank account, or bank OCC account only. Okay. Then next type is your of payment voucher. All the transactions related to your payments, by either by cash or through bank, that are recognized or that are done under the payment voucher. So such payments can be because of purchase you had done, or the any expenses have occurred, or you had acquired any fixed assets due to the creditor, or some loans or advances are given by you, or the payment of loans or advances taken by you earlier. So these type of transactions may appear. So in that you had to do the payment. So all the transactions that are related to payment, you had to show it in your payment voucher. Then next is your receipt voucher. Receipt voucher is what all inflow of money, whether it is being in cash or in through bank, are recorded through receipt voucher. Such receipts may be towards any income or from your debtors, or loans or advances, or refund of loans or advances given earlier. So the voucher is similar to your payment voucher, except that your debit cash or bank accounts and credit the ledger from which you had received it. Okay. So this is about your receipt voucher. Then again, if I say about journal voucher, what you had to do, here you had, it's just like an adjustment voucher, and it is basically used for your non-cash transactions. जैसे कि like adjustment between your ledger accounts, or there is a provision for liabilities, income receivables, or depreciation, and other provisions कुछ हो सकते हैं. So these are the common examples of your journal voucher. So in journal voucher, entry is passed when you want to adjust amount between two or more ledger accounts. Okay, so without affecting cash or bank balance, if you want any adjustment between the two ledger accounts, then you had to go, or you had to select your journal voucher. Okay, now next is your sales voucher. Any sales, any transaction which is related to sales, whether it is being goods or services, that are entered into your sales voucher. Okay, so what what you had to do, any whether it is being the case of cash sales, you receive the payment immediately, either by in the form of cash or through by check, or payment is made through credit card. So there is no need to create separate ledger accounts for the buyer that has paid this, that has made these payments. What you had to do, you can do it in a single account. Okay, so any sales transaction, whether it is related to goods or services, that should be entered in your sales voucher. Okay. Or if you had, again, I'm repeating, in case the sales is done, and in that sales is done in cash. So in that you had received immediately the payment of that cash is either through check or through credit card. So no need to prepare a separate ledger account for that. That transaction or that voucher, that you can do in your sales voucher. Okay, so instead of creating one party ledger or debiting or crediting in that ledger, one can select only one cash or bank account with whom you had deposited that check or credit card organization. So the entry would appear in your sales register or your cash bank book. Okay, now, next is your purchase voucher. Any purchase transaction, whether it is related to goods or services, it should be entered in your purchase. In case of, if I say it is not a credit purchase, it's a cash purchase, what you had to do, you had made payment immediately either through cash or through check. You do not need to track outstanding as the payment has already been made by you. Okay, so there is no need to create a separate ledger again for the vendor whom you have paid immediately, like in your sales voucher. जैसे आपने sales voucher में, there is no need to prepare a separate no need to prepare a separate ledger account. Likewise in purchase also, if your payment in case if you, in case of cash purchase, you had done payment immediately by cash or check, then there is no need for you to track outsiding. Why? Because payment already has been made, and there is no need to create a separate ledger for the vendor whom you have paid immediately. Okay. So instead of making one purchase voucher crediting the party and another payment voucher that debiting the party, what you can do, you can create a composite purchase voucher. So in the first entry, instead of party ledger, what you can do, you can select cash or bank account, the bank account on which you had issued the check. The entry would appear in the purchase register as well as in your cash or bank book. Okay, now clear. Then we had talked about, discussed the thing credit note and debit note. Credit note, what it tells, by default it is not activated, so it not be available in the tally. And if you want this, that you want a credit note for your transactions, okay, so how you can do it, you have to activate this option and use debit and credit note for the company. And you can select that under the features option. Okay, so you can select this voucher upon clicking either F7 journal or F8 saves button. So credit note basically is what it is generally issued when a buyer returns some goods that you have sold to him, and this is basically your sales return. So if you grant him credit due to the rate difference or discount rate, and now you like to square off the debit balance, then you had to put it a credit note there. Okay, likewise by default debit note is also not available in the tally. For that purpose also you have to activate that option. use the debit or credit note for the company under again the features option, where you can select the voucher upon clicking either F7, that is for journal, and F9 for purchase buttons. Okay. Debit note, what it is? It is generally entered when you make purchase return or have a short billed a customer, or your supplier have granted credit to you on account of rate difference or discount, etc. Okay, so again in Tally I'm sharing you where you can do it, how you can activate it, debit or credit note. Here you can activate it. It is inbuilt in Tally, and it is as no. I had made it at yes. I have selected this as earlier. It was what? It was no. यहाँ पे क्या था? No था. It was no, but I had selected it as yes if you want that. Okay, so you had to select it as yes. And if you do anything wrong, then there will be a spelling error as I had done. So enter, you have to select this. Okay, yes. Then again, you had to make it yes and then yes. Okay, then it will be your debit and credit note will be shown at your right hand side of Tally. Okay, then you had to accept it. Yes. Okay. So quit voucher types, features. In features, you can have these features. Okay. Then quit. Then configuration. In configuration, you can do have the information regarding your general configuration. Numeric symbols. If you want any change, want to display, create or alter, then accounts or inventory information, voucher entry. Then here you will, I already had discussed these things. Then voucher entry, in that had discussed the configuration of all items. And then quit. Voucher types also I had discussed. If you want to display, these are the different types of vouchers. Okay. And if you want to alter any voucher, then alter option you had to. And like I had created this pay. Okay, this voucher I had created. You can also create if you want according to the need of your company, and edit if you want to edit it. Like I want to change the name that I had entered voucher pay, and now I want other name like uh, Ravi. Then by the name of Ravi, I had a voucher and it is related to Elias is the nickname RV. And these are the things if I want, then enter. Okay, end of list. These are the list of what bank accounts, OCC account, OD account. Okay, this voucher, then quit, then close it and display. Okay, then you can say where is your just a second. Quit. Your types. No, this is not the one. This is not display. Okay, तो यहाँ पे I think your display. Quit, quit, quit. No. Okay, so this is the main one. Then in features, you can go on accounting features. These already I had told you. Then quit. Accounting vouchers. Here you can see these are your accounting vouchers. Okay. Journal debit note, these are being activated. That I had done. कि ये आपके activate हो चुके हैं. Otherwise by default, and these are the shortcut keys for that. Okay. If you want any item profit and loss account, list of ledger accounts in journal, you can so receipt account you can do the transaction here account and its name of receipt. अगर आप payment select करते हो, it will be of payment list of types. This I had created pay and payment. So in which you want to do that transaction, you had to select that. Like payment I had created, not applicable. then it will be a pay, and if it was applicable, then it will be a payment. Okay, so in payment you had the options pay, payment, and ye. Here, if you class one, then number one, this is the voucher number, voucher class one on this date, and you can do the particulars amount. And at last, you can write the narration that from this person you had purchased this amount, or you had paid. This is related to payment, so you can write down from which person you had taken the goods or services, and at what rate you are making the payment. Okay, and here you can write down the amount. Okay, then configuration I already had told you. Then your features option already been discussed. Okay, so these are the things we had already discussed. Okay, so debit note or credit note you can enter on, activate on. Then next is your body of voucher. Body of voucher means ki this main part, this one. This is the body of voucher, what it contains and what these labels say about. So we are discussing it again. First one is your to or buy or debit or credit. It is pre-decided to first voucher entry according to the voucher selected. That is, the cursor does not move here. Here, for subsequent voucher entries, the cursor asks for the selection of debit or credit in your first column. And I already had shown you कि कैसे आप debit credit या वो to or buy select कर सकते हो. There is the option and I had told you कैसे करोगे. Okay, then upon its selection, the cursor moves to the debit or credit amount column. Then, however, for sales, purchase, debit note, and credit note vouchers, subsequent entries also pre-decided. Then to select buy or to, you have to press B or T, and if you press any other character, error message will appear. So if it is to or buy, only you have to select what? T or B. You have to press the B or T. Otherwise, error message will appear. So instead of debit or credit, you can select D and C. After responding yes to the query, use credit debit instead of to buy during your entry in configure button on the bottom right side of voucher creation screen. तो वहां पे जो configuration button होगा, again I'm showing you यहाँ पे जब आप वाउचर एंट्री करते हो, here this button is there in configuration. You can set it as debit or credit. Here it is, there is the option, it is no. If you make this option active, make it is yes. So instead of credit and debit, you can use to or buy during your entry. So if you make it as yes. Okay, so these are the configuration while doing the transaction. These things you need. Okay, so skip data field during your creation. Yes. Use single entry mode for payment or contra. Yes. Use payment receipt as contra. No. Credit debit instead of to and buy. तो अगर credit debit करना है to and buy की जगह, तो then you have to select it as yes. अगर आपका cash balance account है उसमें negative है तो उस पे want करना है. Table of the bill details of selection, yes. Show final bill balances, bill के final balances I want to show, yes. So these are the options जो आपको ऑप्ट करने हैं if you want them. So balances on the voucher date, अगर balances show करना है voucher date पे तो you can opt as yes. Ledger final balances, print check after saving voucher, confirm each check before print, कि आप print करने से पहले check को जो है confirm करो हर बार, तो उसको yes कर सकते हो. Print check after saving voucher, yes. And bank allocation options are also there. Use default for bank allocations, no use auto check numbering, allow selection for check range, show remarks. अगर कुछ remark है किसी check पर या किसी भी document पर, तो उसमें अगर आपको remark देखना है तो you can write it down. Then show emails. So ये सारा, और F12 के through you can have more options. Okay, so this was about your configuration, and these are the things, these are the vouchers where you are going to make your transactions to be recorded. Okay, and you can create your own voucher also. Now about the body part we were discussing. Use credit instead of to and buy during the configure button on the bottom right hand side of your voucher creation screen. I think now it's being clear. Now next is your ledger account. Upon selecting to and by, when you have selected this to and by, the cursor moves to the particulars column on pressing the tab key. तो आपका जो pressing tab key, you can move to the particulars column, like uh, by tab key. Okay, so this is the tab key, like this, end of the list, current balance, and you can put it down. Okay, then ledger account, by selecting to and by, cursor moves to particular column on pressing tab key. So here you are required to select the ledger account under which the transaction and amount to be entered. Okay, so you had to select that ledger account where you want your transaction and amount to be entered. And to select the ledger, type the initial character of the ledger. By a pop list will show all the valid ledger accounts for the entry that will appear on right hand side of the screen. And use arrow keys to move up and down the list and press enter to select the particular ledger in which you are going to put your transaction. Okay, you want to show your transaction. So in the case the ledger you want to transact is not given in the list, you can create a new ledger by going backward in the steps. Already I had told you, if your voucher is not there, or if your ledger entry is not there, so you can make your vouchers by your own by going back to the steps and then create and then display and alter. If you want any modification, likewise you can create your ledger accounts also. Okay, now next is your amount. Amount is this one, this amount. Okay, so this amount, what it is, depending on the selection of debit or credit, cursor will move to the respective amount column. Okay, now the type of transaction amount, जो भी आपका amount है, that you have to type in that column like this. I'm going to type it. This is the list of ledger accounts. While first of all you had to select the voucher. Okay, like cash I had created. So it was showing only one account of cash account. Okay. So this is the voucher pay. Okay, so these are the vouchers in which I had created a voucher according to me, like pay. Its serial number was number one, and voucher class is 1. In that I had selected cash account, and if I want to write down the amount, okay, this is the way by tab entry you can select and write down the amount. Okay, this like this. Then so depending on the selection of debit credit, cursor will move to the respective amount column, and you then have to type the transaction amount. And in case you need to calculate, you can press Ctrl plus N in order to move the cursor to the calculator at the bottom part of your screen. And here you can type your values and operators in order to perform the calculation. So on pressing enter, the calculated figure is automatically returned to the amount field in the voucher. Means कि जो आप जब when you are doing the transaction, तो यहाँ पे आपका just a second, enter. Quit. Narration you had written. Okay, quit. Here you had the calculator. Okay, so here you can calculate your amount if you want to calculate it. Okay, this is the gateway educational mode. Okay, so calculated figure is automatically will be appearing in the amount column when you had calculated that. So when the total of debit and credit amounts are equal, the voucher entry part would be treated as complete and the cursor would move on to the नरेशन फील्ड. ओके, जब आपका टोटल जो है डेबिट एंड क्रेडिट अमाउंट का इक्वल आ जाएगा तो आपका जो वाउचर एंट्री है दैट वुड बी ट्रीटेड एज कंप्लीट, दैट एंट्री हैज बीन कंप्लीटेड and your cursor would move to the narration field. Okay, now narration, what it says as in accounting, Narration is the basically the details of the transactions that are written in the field, and you can write long sentences. In a sentence form, you can write down the narration. However, जो letters हैं that should be crumbled to fit the limited space and text become eligible to read. Okay, so in that provided space only, you had to manage to write that narration, and you had to crumble your letters so that you can put every necessary information in that narration. Okay, so this was about your voucher body. Now, when you want to convert a voucher from one type to another, what are the steps? For example, if you want to enter a difference entry in the journal voucher, okay, you had created a voucher in your journal and now you wish to convert it into a credit note voucher. So what you had to do, you had to first select that voucher, and then after selection, select the voucher in alteration mode. Okay, alter option you had to select, then click the appropriate voucher type button on the button bar and select the voucher type. If multiple vouchers are listed, then you have to select the one voucher that you want to alter. And if some entries offend the selected voucher type, you would be prompted to select appropriate ledger from the list of ledger accounts. Okay, if it is not being selected by this step, okay, so what you had to do, you had to go to your ledger accounts list of from your list of ledger accounts, from those lists you had to select that particular ledger account in which you had done that entry, and then you had to select that voucher type. Okay, so this was about your voucher. And in these illustrations, entries with different vouchers are done in different manners. So while entering the transaction, specify the date by clicking on the date button on right hand side of the gateway of Tally. Okay, date ka bhi I already had told how you can change the date and current period, and this or along with this, when you are doing the vouchers, date and period you can change. If you want to shut a company, select a company, create a company, for these information you can do. Okay, so accounting vouchers, these are the things. And in that, related to printing also, I had told, if you want your vouchers to be printed, then you had to select it, that option as yes. This was about your inventory. Okay. So if I say about different types of vouchers while entering the transaction, you have to specify the date by clicking on the date button on the right hand side of Gateway of Tally, as I already just have shown you. So purchase voucher. Purchases voucher is what? Buy purchase account to Samuel and Company. So this is the transaction related to purchase that you have purchased, and what this entry, what narration you had to do on 2nd April 18, goods were purchased from Samuel Company of rupees 250 on credit. Okay, so these are the purchase vouchers. Likewise, if you want to put an entry in your sales voucher, then buy Narayan Bros account, sundry debtors account to sales account. Okay, to sales account. So narration would be on 4th April 2018, goods sold to Narayan Bros on credit for rupees 250. So this will be your sales voucher. Then by cash account to sales account, again on 3rd April 18, goods sold for cash worth rupees 100 to the Regent Company. Then next is your by Narayan Bose. These are the examples of these different types of vouchers. Then contra voucher by bank account to cash account. This is your contra voucher where bank and cash both are appearing. So on 21st April 18, cash sent to bank account. Then next is your related to payment voucher. What it says, by Jacob Rose Limited account, that is your sundry creditor, debited to bank account to discount received account. So bank account will be shown in your bank account and discount received account will be your indirect income. So it will be shown under the voucher indirect income. And Jacob Rose is your sundry creditor, so it will be shown on your creditor voucher. Okay, so payment voucher, this entry will be shown on your payment voucher. Your narration will be on 6th April 2018, payment made to Jacob Rose Limited by check of rupees 243 and discount allowed by them of 6.25. Okay. So by purchase account to cash account, cash in hand on 87.50, narration on 10th April 18, purchases of goods for cash worth rupees 187.75 was done. Okay, by repairs account, that will be shown on your indirect expenses to bank account, narration on 12th April 2018, amount paid for repairs rupees 25. By cartage account, that will be shown on your direct expenses to cash account on 13th April 2018, amount of rupees 12.50 was paid for cartage on goods bought from Jacob Bros. Okay. So these entries are related to your payment voucher when you are doing any payment. Now, likewise, these are the examples of payment vouchers. These all are examples, like by rent account, that is your indirect expense. It will be shown on your indirect expense voucher. Then to bank account on 13th April 2018, amount paid for rent. By salaries account, indirect expense account to cash account, that is on 30th April 18, amount paid for salaries rupees 75 rupees. Then by capital account to bank account, rupees 62.50 on 30th April 2018, amount drawn out of bank by proprietor for private use. So these are the transactions that you had to enter under a particular voucher. Okay, so it is under the capital account, it is under the indirect expense, it will be shown. Likewise, sundry debtor, under sundry debtor voucher, the Narayan Bros account will be shown. Then fixed assets, under fixed asset voucher, this furniture account will be shown. Okay, so these are the examples. Then related to liability, if I say in liability voucher, by bank account to loan account, rupees 2,500, narration on 25th August 19, amount borrowed from Rania Investment Company Limited. So it will be shown on the liability voucher. Then indirect income voucher by bank account, by discount allowed account, that is shown in direct income to Narayan Bros account. Okay. Then these are the types of examples. So at last, we can say that these above entries, the bracketed words that I had told, indirect expense or indirect income, what are these? These are the group names under which ledger accounts have been prepared. Okay, so these are the main groups under which your ledger accounts will be prepared or have been shown. Okay, so these ledger accounts are then available at the time you are entering your transactions in the vouchers. That is, you need not to create ledger accounts again. Okay, so this was about your third unit, voucher entry, in which you want to create a voucher. And then what are the different types of vouchers you can see, then how you can select a particular voucher entry, what are the different types of selection of voucher types of transactions you can do, then what type, how you can do a voucher entry, then how you can do selection and do the modifications in the date settings, and can do the voucher number modifications through alter mode, you can do it. Then voucher entry with more than one debit and credit accounts, then how you can edit it, that is alter it or delete a voucher, then printing a voucher and check that these things we had discussed. Okay, so in this, if I, in summary, if I say, in manual accounting, transactions are recorded through journal entries, and in your computerized accounting, it is done through voucher entries. So it is a document which is needed to support your transaction. And your transactions like sales bill copy, checkbook slip, counterfoil, record slip, then pay in slip, pay register, etc. So what we can say, that voucher contains the every single detail regarding your transaction. Uh, these are there are various of transactions, or you can say various types of vouchers that in detail we had discussed, like contra voucher is there, payment has, sales has, right, receive voucher is there. So different types of vouchers we had discussed, and conversion of those voucher into another type. For example, if you want to you entered a rate difference entry in a journal voucher, and now you want to convert into credit, then how you can modify it. So through the alter option you can do it. I had shown you. Then for example, these things we have discussed. Then the steps or select the voucher in the alteration mode. Click appropriate voucher type button on the button bar and select the voucher type. And if multiple vouchers are listed, if some entries offend the selected voucher type, you had to prompt to select appropriate ledger from the list of ledger accounts. And these things we had discussed in detail right now. So these steps, you can do the changes. So this was about your voucher unit third. If you had any doubt, you can ask. Otherwise, I will provide you a brief overview again regarding your this third unit. Anyone? Ronak, Nishu, Neelam, Akash, Taranjeet, you do have any doubt regarding your third unit? In your exam, there may be questions regarding practical aspect. Write down the steps of creating a voucher, or how you can print a voucher, what are the shortcut keys. So you had to prepare it both practically and theoretically. And if you do have any doubt regarding your previous sessions, you may ask, write it now. Already I had said कि जो भी हम next session करेंगे previous sessions का भी अगर आपको कोई doubt है, you can ask. Okay. So any doubt regarding that? So, Taranjeet, Neelam, Akash, Ronak, Nishu, you all are in my class. You had any doubt regarding it, bache? Ashu, if you have any doubt, write down in the chat box if you don't want to speak. No, ma'am. Okay, Ashu. And what about Ronak, Nishu, Neelam? This is your revision and doubt class. You can ask your doubts and if you had done the revision regarding your previous sessions. Along with, I had discussed today your third session about your third unit. Please write in the chat box if you do have any doubt. Otherwise, just write it down that you don't have any doubt. Okay, so Taranjeet, Ashu has written no, ma'am. Ronak, Nishu. Okay, Taranjeet. Okay, so I'm going to provide you a brief overview again about this topic. Okay, so in a voucher, what we have briefly and fastly, I'm going to provide you the overview again, what we have done. So my screen is visible to everyone. So in manual accounting, what we do we do have the recording of transactions through journal entries. Okay, but in okay, Taranjeet, we do have transactions recorded through journal entries. While in computerized accounting, we are doing this thing through software, that is Tally. And when we record the transaction in Tally through software, it is done through voucher entry. So voucher entries के through आप ये transactions record करोगे, in which voucher is what? It is a document which is needed to support that transaction that you are adding on. So it may be a sales bill copy, checkbook slip, काउंटर फाइल, रिकॉर्ड स्लिप और पे रजिस्टर या फिर पे इन स्लिप का जो है कॉपी है वो हो सकता है. ओके, सो वी कैन से दैट वाउचर कंटेन्स अ डिटेल इंफॉर्मेशन अबाउट योर transaction. For example, A withdraws a cash or worth rupees 10,000 from OD account and 30,000 from your current account on same date from the SDFC bank. So although both are your cash transactions from the same bank, but there are a need to write it down on separate vouchers, to record it on separate vouchers. Okay, so types of vouchers we had discussed. There may be a contra voucher. This is a type of voucher for entering fund transfer transactions where net inflow are equal. Okay, and the payment voucher, जितने भी आपके transactions related to payment है by cash or bank, from payment voucher you had to show. Then a receipt voucher, जितना भी आपका all inflow of money in cash or bank through bank is recorded through receipt voucher. Then journal voucher, this is an adjustment voucher. This is basically used for non-cash transactions. In journal vouchers, we will pass an entry when you want to adjust amount between two ledger accounts, which are without affecting your cash and bank accounts. Then next is your sales voucher. Any sales transaction, whether it is related to goods or services, are entered in your sales voucher. And in case of cash sales, you receive payment immediately by your cash or bank. There is no need to create a separate ledger account for the buyer. Okay. And in your purchase voucher, any purchase transaction which is done for good or service, you can do that in your purchase voucher. And in case of cash purchase, no separate ledger of the vendor is being required. You don't need to prepare a separate ledger for that vendor. Okay. Then credit and debit note, by default in Tally it is not activated. If you want that you want a credit note and debit note voucher, then you had to activate this option from your features button. Okay, by clicking F7 or F8, then this will be activated. Then if I say about the body part of voucher transactions that you are entered in the body part of voucher, it has to or buy or debit credit fields or ledger account that you had to select, and amount of what amount, and then narration. Okay. Then in manual accounting, transactions are recorded through the journal entries, while in your computerized accounting it is done through your these voucher entries also. So this document is needed to whatever document is needed to support that transaction, that is known as your voucher. So it may be a copy of sales bill, slip of checkbook, counterfoil, कोई record slip हो सकती है, पेन slip हो सकती है, या पे register का copy हो सकता है. Okay, so this is your voucher entry. How you can do a voucher entry. For example, you had withdrawn a cash of rupees 50,000 from OD and 60,000 from current account on the same day from Bank of Baroda. So both are cash withdrawal from the same bank. Transaction would be entered into two separate vouchers. Sorry. Okay, so voucher entry create करने के लिए what you had to do, you had to go to the gateway of the Tally where you had these options available. In that you had to select accounting voucher option, and while selecting accounting voucher, next screen will appear in which you had the options. This screen will appear where you had these options of account, date, time, and on which day, what amount you had to, and narration at left hand side of the corner, and these contra entry, receipt, these types of vouchers options are available. Okay, so what it say while when you select this accounting voucher, then this window will this screen will appear, and in that you had the options of voucher type, what type of voucher you had selected among these which are appearing. Okay, whether it's a receipt one, journal one, sales one. Okay, now this what you have selected, this is a payment one. Okay, so payments are related, you are doing the transaction, and this is the voucher type. Then what is your voucher number? That number you can write it down, whether it's a 10th number or 4th number or 5th number. Then reference means reference becomes the part of voucher header in sales, purchase, debit or credit note. Then date of voucher, what is the date? This date will be shown, and day also ki day of voucher just below for your convenience it would be shown. And effective date means date also sometimes become part of, kabhi kabhi ye become part of that voucher. Effective date when there is a due date or interest from the other date than the voucher date, then there may be this effective date will be there. Okay, so then we had discussed about types of vouchers. Basically in Tally you do have these inbuilt types of vouchers, and instead of this, if you want any other voucher by other name, then you can create by your own, and if you want to delete it or alter it, you can do that also and can display it. That I had shown practically in your tally. And along with that, to record non-cash transactions normally entered in journals, to record cash or bank transactions, specific journal for exclusive purposes you can create. Okay, so now voucher selection, how you can select a voucher. Gateway of tally, in that you have to select voucher type. Then this will appear where you can select display option. If you want to create a new one, then you have to select this option create. And if you appearing in this list, change it, then you have to select this option alter, and you can change the information there, and then it will then you have to save it and it will appear in this this above list. What it shows, different types of vouchers, and those vouchers which are needed according to your books of account, that vouchers you can select from here. Okay, and if you want to add on, then you can add on here. Then these different types of vouchers we have discussed. What is a contra voucher, payment voucher, receipt voucher, journal voucher, what is about the sales voucher, purchase voucher, credit note, debit note. Okay, these things, these all types of vouchers that are being discussed here, is shown here, is being discussed in detail during the session. Then we had discussed about the body of voucher. Body is basically what uh, this try this when you opt for voucher, then this window will appear, and here this is the body which includes account current balance, particulars, amount, here date, and narration amount. What does it mean? Okay, though to or by debit or credit is pre-decided, and if you want to change it, then what you had to do, you had to select it by option, by activating it through features option. Then ledger account. In ledger account, what you had to so upon selecting by to in by debit or credit, what you had to do, you selected to in by first, then your cursor moves to the particulars column. You can by pressing the tab key, you can go to the particulars column, and you had to select a particular ledger account in which you want to do your transaction. Okay, then after that you had to do the amount column. Whatever the transaction amount you have to put it down. Okay, you had to write that amount related to that transaction. Then again you have to press the enter key, and figure is automatically will be saved. Then at last, by pressing the tab key, you will be directed to the narration tab. Narration, in that you had to write down the details regarding your transaction, and you can write a long sentences, and but on the condition that the space being provided, up to that space you had to crumble your words so that it may be fit into that, and accordingly you had to write it down, your narration on that limited space, so that it can be understandable along with your important details. Okay, so these was about the body part. Then if you want to convert a voucher of one type to another, then what you had to do, first of all you have to select the voucher, and in that you had to select the alteration option. Okay, then click on appropriate voucher type button on the button bar, and select that voucher type. If multiple vouchers are listed, then you had to select which voucher you want to alter. And if sometimes entries often and they don't make you to do the editing there, then what you had to do, you had to go to the ledger accounts, appropriate ledger account. You had to go to the ledger account, and you had to select that particular ledger account in which you want to do the alteration. So these things we had discussed today regarding your third unit. And if you want to print it or delete it, that also we had discussed in practically I had shown in the tally how you can print it or delete it. So these things we had discussed regarding your third unit. So I hope this is being clear and this revision has been done. If you do have any doubt, we can discuss it in your next session also. Okay, so I'm stop sharing my screen. If you do have any doubt, again I'm asking. No, no doubt. Okay, class. मैम इम्पोर्टेंट बता दीजिए बेटा, ये बहुत छोटी यूनिट है, सिर्फ आपको इसमें वाउचर्स क्रिएट करने हैं, उसमें कुछ ऑल्ट्रेशन करना है, कैसे आप कर सकते हो डेट एंड टाइम सेटिंग का। देन ये छोटी सी चीज अगर आप प्रैक्टिकली एक बार करोगे तो यू डोंट नीड टू just you don't need to just रटना वाला चीज, you will get to know how to do that. Okay, तो उसमें कुछ भी रटने वाला नहीं होगा, आपको समझ आएगा. You can learn it by your memory itself. Okay, Rohan. Okay, class, thank you. I'm ending my class. If you do have any query, can write it on the chat box.